This is part two of the interview of Jewel, survivor of the
Freedom.
Convoy.
Freedom Convoy 2022.
Yeah. Something deeper that hit me overnight is the letters that children gave the Convoy.
Oh, yeah.
In their lives, was a much bigger deal than I think we realize.
Well, it's their futures, right?
Yeah, but they knew that, and we were. It was never brought out that these kids are going, oh my God, what's going on with my country?
Yeah, I mean, that ranges from like 2-year-olds all the way up to, 17, 18-year-olds.
And they will be voters someday.
Yeah, I'm sure the 2-year-olds just love to be out and be with their parents and jump around and bounce around with signs or whatever, listen to the honking and see all the big trucks. And
yeah, but
stuff,
I went with my parents to stand beside the road and freeze and watch the convoy go by.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know where the letters are? Were they ever collected?
Well, anybody that, say, ran up to the truck and gave it to us, I know the truckers that I were with all kept them.
Did you read some?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have some?
No.
Okay.
Well, I have one card that came in one of the, not gift baskets, but it was with like a hand towel, a face cloth, shampoo, soap, and it was like a card that they had, I guess not mass produced, but a bunch of doilies that they'd cut out or whatever and kind of stuck on. It wasn't like a single homemade. It was, I guess they made a bunch of them, but they were signed, and it just said, thank you for what you're doing. We love you. And then, I don't know. I don't believe, I don't have any handwritten ones, but I know a lot of the truckers did.
Did you get any in French?
Yeah, there were, well, mostly more east we went.
Yeah.
Right? But for the west.
And my brother went on vacation once, and he said from a certain point to the east coast, everyone speaks French. It's not just Quebec. It's half of Canada.
Could be.
I didn't know that.
Also depends where you go too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they all speak English, but there are more pockets of predominant French people that gather together, which makes sense. Stick with your community.
So, Jewel speaks French, I found out.
Oui, je
So I
parle
asked her-
québécois. C'est pas la même chose que français.
Exactly, that's what I meant. So I asked her to throw in if there's something that could be a little more right on the money with explaining it, to say it in French as well as English.
I will try. It's hard to think of something right now.
Well,
and I am English, so but I do spew out French sayings, and my daughter just blankly stares at me. And says, "You're doing it again, Mom. English, speak English." I wish I would have continued teaching her, but I did not.
Okay. I want to sort of dig into the more insidious side of this, because those kids were afraid for their future.
For sure. Sure. I mean, they're not stupid. They have to wear masks. They're uncomfortable. They can't. I mean, just as if you do scientific research studies, I mean, facial expressions are huge to infants and young children. So to be like this, you don't see. Is your parent happy, sad? You don't know.
Well, I have a medical research company, and the N95 foam masks work and face shields work.
But all the other ones.
I can't say that. But they've done tests where they've shown people smoking a cigarette and blowing it out through the mask. Anyway, that's not what we're here to cover. We're just here to poke knitting needles at them.
So insidious things, off the top of my head, how there was a big, huge pig roast put on by the, I believe it was Hutterites or Mennonites. I apologize if I've got it wrong. I mean, no disrespect. And it was all set up, huge parking lot, tons of space, and the police blocked us off and wouldn't allow us to go through that town. We had to go around. So there were, I think, 2 pigs that they'd roasted up for us, and all the fixings and whatever else that this community had banded together, you know, to share with us. And for whatever reason, I mean, the routes were all pre-planned with each province, town, whatever, police force, governments, municipalities, whatever. So they knew it ahead of time, and it was never an issue. But that day they decided, no, we don't want you to go. So they stopped us. So, I mean, they all then had to band together and take it all apart and put it into, you know, single kind of serving, whatever, paper plates or, you know, takeout boxes, whatever. I don't know because I wasn't part of it, but, you know, because I was usually at the front of the convoy, so the you know, middle and back, you know, they may have found, you know, ways, and then they met somewhere else, and I know they did partake in some of the food, but it just boggled my mind that why they would do that. And I'm not saying it's the police per se, it's whoever tells them what to do and what not to do, and they followed that, you know, and it just seemed like a huge, I don't know, just nasty. We weren't going to be blocking, you know, the roads. We weren't going to be infringing on any, you know, it was all okayed with whatever businesses and residences were around. You know, they were welcoming us. They wanted us to come. But whoever decided, nope, that's not going to happen. That was, yeah, not pretty at all. Some of the other things, well, definitely in Ottawa, some of the, and I won't even call them police, I would say there were more soldiers, really. You know, they had no name tags. They like, you walk by them or to ask them a question, even like for directions or something, you know, they just blank stare.
Can you
Blank
stop
stare.
the dog from doing
Sorry?
that?
Blank stare. Just like dead, no spirit, nothing. Like they were just devoid. It was almost like they were robots, hypnotized. I don't know what, I couldn't say, but it was very disconcerting. It was like, you would rather shoot me than talk to me, kind of. Like, that's the energy I kind of got from them, you know. And we were doing nothing wrong except trying to be heard. But again, the government would not meet with us.
Is this near the end when they brought those people in? Because they appeared very near the end.
Oh, at the beginning, it was, you know, fine. It was the locals. I mean, you get bad apples no matter where you go in humanity, right? You get power-hungry people, control freaks, whatever. So there's always those. But for the most part, the police and the RCMP, I mean, a lot of them believed in what we were doing, you know, and they just like, hey, you know, and it'd be like, we just walk by and they, you know, you're really not supposed to be going there, but go, you know, they would say go ahead, but we're not going to stop you, kind of thing, you know. Yeah. We don't want people up on the hill or, you know, whatever, right? But.
Well, in Canada, we did not expect vindictiveness. And
not for a peaceful protest like that.
This started over, we don't expect mandates in this country either. We were told we're the true north, strong and free. Yeah. And we're going to have that, even if that was not true, because they told us that. That was sold to us. Yeah. And those people, there's something called the Kilgallee Principles, which I think is United Nations, and the U.S. signed on to it, I know for sure. I think Canada did. If your country is in insurrection and turmoil, you can go to the UN and they will say, we'll send in enough people to quell the violence and get it peaceful again so you guys can work it out.
There was no violence. They had
no, I'm just talking about there is this force available. I'm wondering if these guys were the UN.
Oh, probably.
Because the UN can pull from 187 countries to get as many bodies as they need to quell the insurrection or violence to protect the people in the country.
Sure, which ones?
Will they ever leave? We don't know.
And how do they protect them? By killing?
Like this.
Exactly.
We're bringing a peaceful solution to your problem.
Yeah.
So
by taking away your rights and freedoms.
Were these new Kilgallee available worldwide soldiers? and for the conspiracy people, were these MK Ultra hypnotized robot people, or were they clones? You know, I don't think they've gotten that far with cloning people, but these
I don't know
they
how
wouldn't
far they've
speak to
gotten
you.
with stuff,
They
you know.
they wouldn't speak to you, right?
No,
And
they would not speak at all. They would not. Like I said, the looks on their faces were, I'd rather shoot you than talk to you. Don't F with me.
Yeah.
Dérange-moi pas. Like, don't bug me. Go away.
It was reported on CBC that someone said they don't speak English, and then you said, well, maybe they speak French, which we didn't cover.
Wow.
Okay.
There was enough French people, English people, other countries, or pardon me, other cultures around of all languages. I mean, you had Asians, you had Africans, you had like India, the country, like you had, it was Canada, it was everybody. So there's, you know, you can't tell me that there's not one person that could not have interacted with them.
Yes.
You know, and what are they doing trying to protect a country if they can't speak to the person,
Yes.
right? If you can't say stop, you know, freeze,
Yeah.
whatever. What, you're just going to shoot the person because you couldn't speak the language? I don't think so.
Well, this is another little indicator of what it actually was and what we don't actually want. We don't want troops coming in to quell a legal demonstration.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Demonstration.
And
Like I said, there was so much of our own people there doing security because we knew any tiny little thing, you know, like I was saying last time, a husband and wife or girlfriend, boyfriend arguing, the mass media and or these rather shoot you than talk to you people, I won't say police, because they weren't police. Anyhow,
I think you have to have a uniform if you're an oath taker, if you're RCMP or police or military.
Right.
Even,
okay, a person in uniform, perfect.
Yeah, should have.
A uniformed individual, and there were females there too.
Yeah.
You know,
Same uniform, green.
they were black. The ones that I saw, I didn't see a lot of green.
Yeah.
Any green that I saw was usually the veterans holding the Canada flags.
Okay.
You know.
Well, my landlord's Chinese, and on Canada Day, he's the only one who came and celebrated with me and gave me a gift, and he told me his story. He came from China, couldn't speak English, worked his way up, and now he's a very wealthy computer person. The immigrant, none of my friends called me, wasn't invited to any parties. And where you were, you said there was hundreds of people who were not truckers,
Oh,
who were immigrants, who were
thousands.
new Canadians.
Thousands.
And why they are there is they've seen the totalitarian crap where they came from,
And they moved away from it.
and they're not about to let it happen here. That's why they
Exactly.
came and said, no, we've seen this before.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's who, there's the truckers, and there's lots of film of hundreds, if not thousands of people in the streets freezing their butts off.
On overpasses.
Yeah.
Out in.
But in Ottawa.
Okay, not on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
In support
yeah,
of
Yeah.
this demonstration saying we don't want a totalitarian push around in this country.
Exactly.
Didn't expect it. We're surprised it's here, and
And even more surprising, no one from the government would talk to them.
yeah.
Or us. They would not. They'd rather just, oh, we need an Emergencies Act. Really? For bouncy castles?
Yeah.
And music? And hugging? You need an Emergency Act for coming together and saying, hey, we want to talk to someone, we don't like what's going on.
Yeah.
Because you've ignored the letters, you've ignored the petitions, you've ignored the emails, you've ignored the phone calls. You know, this is all through, you know, starting at your local city government, working your way up provincial, federal, you know, tons of people, MLAs, MPs, mayors, councillors, even ombudsmen, you know, like what else are you supposed to do? When you do it, their way, legal way. You play by their rules, and there's no result. Come on.
Well, an act of parliament is by the consent of the governed. If you don't consent to the act, then it doesn't apply to you.
So then it doesn't apply to you, but let's bring in these soldiers.
Well,
Because we don't like that you disagree.
everything's on a big assume. Everyone assumes government is two Latin words, gov, which means control, and men or men's or mental is government's mind control. That's the definition of government. So you're born into it, and you go, oh, the government, the police, the way it is, pay taxes, all that. It's all on a big assume. If you question the assume, it goes all the way up to that kind of thing where the act is by consent of the government. You say, well, I don't consent. Okay. That's not followed up very often, except by individuals, and then they get labeled as conspiracy nuts.
Okay, so what about Freedom George being put in jail? For how long? And the only reason why he pled is because he wanted to see his family. And a lot of people say, oh, you know, you wimped out, whatever. Well, why? I didn't see anyone else going to jail. No one else volunteered to go in his place. You know, he'd had enough. He realized he couldn't win their game, and his lawyer's bills and everything were adding up. Yeah. You know, his family, like everybody, people all around the world were sending money, you know, to him to help cover the costs. And for what? No bail, no nothing for months? Well, what is that? You have people that do way more horrific crimes and even repeat offenders. They go in, they're out the next day. He did nothing wrong.
Well, that's the double standard legal system. That is the reality.
But you know why? Would be my guess, is because he was on live videos, and he's a very very open, honest, and powerful, I guess in their minds, speaker, presenter, sharing of information, and had the ability to speak to the people at a level that they could understand and believed in, and they were like following him, and it was growing, and the government was scared of that. But still, so how do you take away his right for a fair hearing? Like, not even bail, nothing, for months. How is that possible? For what?
It's because we live in a socialist country, not a democratic country. This exposed the
corruption,
the lie of freedom, and there's corruption everywhere. Yeah. And that's why we're here, and that's why the truckers did that, and anyone could have protested, but it was one social class. Said, we're getting stopped at the border. We can't work across the border. We're losing our jobs.
And not just that, but then the supply chain.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about them and their jobs. It was about everybody, all the families, all the businesses.
Yeah.
Without them, they're a pretty powerful bunch. You know.
So I think it was a very wrong-headed of Justin Trudeau to think, he tells us we're Canadians and the country's a wonderful place, and Canada, Canadians this, Canadians that, to think that we're so stupid that we're going to buy into saying, oh, the trucker social class, they're white supremacists, they're racist, they're all misogynists, they're got gun racks in the back of their truck and they're ready to shoot automobiles. All of that. This is United States prejudice from the South that Canadians who are so sophisticated are going to buy into. Oh, the truckers, yeah, they're all a bunch of low class.
Yeah, yahoos.
Warts on society. They all
They're one of
they
the
have
most
they have
hardworking.
families, they have children, they have
Yeah.
mortgages. A partial oil change on a big diesel truck is $1,500, and the reason they do that is the real oil change turnaround is $2,200, and it has to be done.
Yeah.
You can sort of fake it a couple of times with the 1,500.
Well, their tires are over $1,000 each.
And the reason they leave the motors running is the head and the block are different metals. They cool down at different speeds, and that affects the seal. And if you do that, the seal gets weak, and you have to replace the seal, which means you have to take the whole top of the motor off, everything connected with it, change the seal, put it back. That's horrendously expensive. So it's cheaper to let the diesel run than to do that.
And you can be guaranteed that you can continue on,
Yeah.
and you stay warm, and whatever you're hauling, you know, be it a refrigerated unit or whatever, stays, you know, without the power.
You know, the rebel flag from the southern United States from their Civil War, which was over 100 years ago, is now an item you buy at a costume shop. It's a costume item. There is no more nation down there, and all of the money from that nation was completely invalidated. It's gone. And in Canada, I haven't met a white supremacist I'm 75 my whole life. There are such people I hear, I've never seen them. They talk about them.
Well, I've met a couple. They're just ignorant. That's all. They're just not educated about. They were brought up in a certain way, and they're like this. They don't see that. You know, so.
So,
I mean,
Justin Trudeau doing that is the same as the Nazis when they took pictures of Jews and portrayed them as pigs, pigging out in restaurants. These people are equivalent to sloppy pigs. And if you take a cartoon of someone, it reaches the masses. And that comes out of Sigmund Freud's grandson's book. The family got all of Sigmund Freud's papers, and that information was turned into something called propaganda, which governments use, and propaganda became advertising technology.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what mainstream media is now.
To take the
Owned
wind
by
out
the
of
government.
to take the wind out of the sails of the trucker convoy, they were portrayed as the list I gave.
Oh, and more. And more.
And
dangerous. Well, we were dangerous because we had the blessings and the I don't know, want of Canadians. That's the only reason why we were dangerous.
yes,
Is because we had the means to speak and stand and be seen. You know, it's kind of hard to miss a whole bunch of tractor trailers.
yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard to miss them. You can dismiss a couple people here and there, but you can't dismiss that. Well, you bring in the Emergencies Act. That's how you do that. For a peaceful, legal protest. That had been you know, all the routes were sent and pre-approved, let's call it. You know, we all had, or most had CB radios, if not cells, that don't work all the time across Canada. But the CBs do. And we communicated back and forth. You know, oh no, this route's now been changed. A few times it was because they did not expect the numbers, right? They thought, oh, maybe 10, 20, 50, 100 trucks. Well, no, it became a lot more than that. I don't even know what the final count was. I don't know. I wish I knew. Like, I wish there was someone who like had a drone or was, you know, somewhere on a high office building or, you know, whatever building on the highway that they zoomed in and, you know, I'd love to know what the count was. I don't even know.
The RCMP probably know.
Oh, probably.
Politicians live on image, the suit and the tie and the haircut, and whatever they say. but they're between a rock and a hard place all the time. And if you make them look bad, that ends their career. And they can't have that, especially someone like Justin Trudeau being Prime Minister. He's an MP from Quebec. He has to get elected in Quebec, in his local riding, to be a member.
See, that's
of that
another
party.
thing. They've changed stuff, how all that works.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
the West votes don't count as much as the East votes and stuff. I think there should be like everybody gets a vote, and there are 5 people you get, or 10, whatever you get to choose from, and whoever got the most votes, period. But no, they have this weird system nowadays where, oh well, this many seats, you know, counts as that for that. Those provinces are, I don't even know how it works. It's just
you're not going to like
stupid.
this. Justin Trudeau proposed what you're saying, and people weren't interested. The one we have now is called First Through the Gate. Whoever, you know, he's got more than him, and that's it. But Justin Trudeau said what you said. We're going to have just names. You have to know who you're voting for. The person who the people pick gets it. And then we all went into apathy about it and didn't say, yeah, we want that.
Well, then that would be the one and only good thing he's done, in my opinion.
Okay.
Or was proposing to do,
Yeah.
you know. But did he do that just for show? And then how did it get presented through the mainstream media?
I don't know. I just heard
They
that in the last
obviously
2
did
days.
something to make the people not want to do it. And then they don't tell you things, you know. Oh, this is going to be 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, flatten the curve, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. Hello. Children not able to socialize, not able to see their family members, their grandparents, their cousins, their aunts. Do you know how important community and belonging and acceptance is to a young mind? To a psyche? Do you know what that does? Isolation?
Yeah, it destroys the person's
That's
entire future. And that's part of the international plan to weaken the family.
And now the
Weaken
drug
countries.
crisis that was horrific to begin with is now, it's astronomically boggling what COVID did. And do you know that more people die from the toxic drug supply than COVID? And yet every day we'd have someone coming on, Bonnie Henry or whoever, and scrolling thing on your TV, how many hospitalized, how many died, how many, you know, whatever. Rarely do they mention, unless there's some sort of an event, you know, but put on by Mum Stop the Harm, or, you know, someone about the toxic drugs that are killing people. Oh, well, they choose to be drug addicts. No, they don't. No, they don't. There's just not enough services in this world. Not enough physical, mental support. Not enough treatment centers. You know, drug dealers drive to your house. When you're dope sick, you're not about to walk an hour to maybe get in to see someone who may or may not want to help you in a hospital. Do you know the stigma even in hospitals? They don't they're not trauma informed, a lot of them. That's not taught in university. So there's all these people who are hurt running around wanting help, and there's no help for them. So they turn to drugs. And the drugs are not safe. They're being made in people's bathtubs with plaster dust or whatever. Oh, let's throw in a couple of these pills. That'll make it crush them up. I don't know what's in it. They're so desperate to numb the pain. And now you're going to have a whole generation, those 2 years of COVID. Do you know how many of those young minds are going to have experienced pain and trauma? How many more people are going to die? Yet, they threw out everything. Oh, let's do this, let's do that for COVID. Oh, if it doesn't work, we'll just try something else. Do they do that for the toxic drugs? No. Oh, no, we need research. We need this, we need that, we need this. They didn't even do testing on the COVID vaccine, for Pete's sake. It's coming out now. They didn't even do proper testing or research. They threw it out to us like guinea pigs. Here, take it. It might save some people. It'll definitely line their pockets full of cash, though, won't it? They're all investors in it. But is that the same strategy for people with, drug or alcohol issues? No. They choose to do that. Let them die. There's no money to be made in it. There's no money to be made in it. So why help the people? You ask some of the coroners, the people that work in funeral homes. Hardly any COVID deaths. Way more toxic drug deaths. What about them? Who speaks for them? I don't know. Should talk to the truckers. Maybe they'd listen for that. Maybe the government might look better for them. I don't know. What's the answer? We have to do something, because even when we tried to do peaceful, look what happened. Nothing. Other than awareness. Few little things.
Well, the convoy was kind of like similar to an election. You have an election, we're voting for people. Because they say, we're going to move the country in this direction. And we say, oh, we like that, so I'll vote for you. We want that.
Well, the Canadians voted for the truckers.
Yeah, so then Canadians, Mr. Trudeau, said, we don't like the direction this is headed, which is totalitarianism. So we're going to drive to the capital, which is what you do. You go to where the government is and go, we don't like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think, the right way to do it. They didn't do it all over in every small town. They went to the capital of the country, literally on the doorstep.
There were some, because there was a lot of people that couldn't make it all the way to Ottawa, and so they would go to their local, legislature.
But they were within shouting distance of the Parliament buildings, I think.
The truckers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it was like, okay, we want to talk about this. We don't like it, and hundreds of thousands of people supporting us don't like it.
Yeah.
So let's
have a
dialogue.
conversation. Nope. They just
And that
brought in
didn't
those
happen.
zombified people, soldiers.
But then it starts to embarrass the politicians.
Well, can't have that now.
And I watched as much of the inquiry as I could stomach.
Oh, please.
Which was presided over by John A. Macdonald clone.
And one of Trudeau's buddies.
Yeah.
Right? Same with this new thing that they're doing too.
When they tried to
New
take down
inquiry
Saddam Hussein, what they didn't know was he was in an office. The picture above him was Nebuchadnezzar from the Bible. It's the same as someone in the U.S. having Abraham Lincoln behind him. And that man was the John A. Macdonald clone, hearkening back to the good old liberal days 150 years ago.
Well, times have changed.
And apparently it looked like the Ottawa police did everything they could legally do and think of. The Ontario Provincial Police did everything they could legally do and think of. And they got together and said, none of this is working, and they went to the province, and the province threw it back at them for quite a while. You guys have enough wherewithal to handle this. So we need more bodies. Well, we can pull a few more bodies, but not all the bodies.
Well, there was RCMP from BC.
Also, RCMP did
Alberta.
everything they could legally do. There was no beatings in the street or setting things on fire or...
But again, they couldn't handle what? They couldn't handle people, what? Playing music and waiting to speak to the government?
No, they can't.
You know,
You can't
what was the
do
big
something
deal?
to that person unless he's illegally parked,
Hmm?
stealing, setting fire to a building. And with a crime, they would have gone, okay, we're getting you for a crime, but there were no crimes as far as we know.
Exactly.
Which is why they were helpless.
There was less crime, actually, because the truckers were there. The homeless were being fed, being clothed, being able to stay warm. You know, in some of the tents we had up, we had tables and tables like at a wedding. You know those big banquet tables.
Yes.
There must have been at Coventry, as I said. You know, on last time that was my main hangout area. There was a big covered tent. I don't know what you call them. Tempo garage. I forget what they're called, they have a proper name, anyhow. And there was at least 50 tables inside, at least. And I'd say 10 of them had like clothing you could just go and pick. You need a sweater, scarf, boots, coat, whatever. All different sizes, ranging from children to, you know, adult. And those are donations, not only from community members, but from stores. Some of the stuff was like brand new and in packages, you know, and that was for anybody. If you lived in Ottawa, if you came in a car, if you were a trucker, it didn't matter. It was like, you're cold, here, wear this, have this. Yeah. Then there was food galore. Like there was, it was like an international restaurant that you didn't have to pay for. Everything, you name it. There was people from like Newfoundland bringing, you know, their whatever, like beans and whatever, you know, like there was people from Quebec that had brought like maple flavored bacon and, you know, had their special smoking machine and like, you know, smoker, like for, you know, smoking meat kind of thing, whatever, right, cooking, you know.
Well, this is the peaceful demonstration, and the problem with that is they can't do anything about it because they can't hit you with a club unless you're doing something illegal. Yeah. Like Gandhi's peaceful, all of that. There's one place where they were actually walking towards something, and the cops were hitting them with 10-foot poles, and the guy would fall down, and his wife would just drag him off to the side and start treating him, and the next guy would come up, and they hit him, and finally the police felt so bad that we can't do this all day long. It's ridiculous.
Oh, true.
So they let them through.
Doesn't feel bad. He is.
And the Martin Luther King marches, just walking on the road. What are you doing? We're going to this town to protest racism. Quietly singing religious songs with a sign. What can you do to them? They're not doing anything illegal. Huh. And that worked.
Well, that's what I said. There were so many, and I wouldn't even say security. There was just so many people in the convoy that anything that might have come across as potentially being an issue, like I said, husband and wife arguing, or you know, one of us protesters and a resident or something, you know, getting into a heated discussion, whatever. There were groups of ours that would come in. They all had walkie-talkies and cell phones. And they would zoom in and they would diffuse it completely because we could not take the chance that anyone from the government or any one of their hired soldiers, zombies, would get wind of that. So we were our own police. We had to stay like perfect, better than angels kind of thing. Like we had to become Mother Teresa's. There was no way we could take the chance of anything going wrong because that would just instantly have given them a reason to attack us, which they did anyways. But, you know.
What did they do?
There was a few people they arrested for absolutely no reason, and it wasn't a very, 15 police officers or zombies, pardon me, soldiers on one person who wasn't even resisting arrest. You've got 15 guys or 13 guys, 2 girls. I don't know. I'm not.
I believe they are now trained to say out loud, "Stop resisting." Stop when you're not resisting. They just say it out loud so people hear it. Yeah. Maybe not be true. I don't know. But
for what?
This was embarrassing to Justin Trudeau and
as
the
it
government.
bloody should be.
And it went worldwide, and it also was embarrassing for the New World Order and all of those billionaires who were trying to take us into usher us into a new system for which our government signed up for. So it had to be stopped. It couldn't be stopped because it was peaceful. Everyone. Did you listen to the inquiry?
I listened to maybe half an hour of one, and I was
I listened as much as I could stomach. I could see where it was headed.
What is the point in this?
The one good lawyer who was impinging on them and getting to them, they threw him out of the room because he was getting too close, which is what they always do in Canada. When you're getting to the truth, they go, "Stop! The mic's bad, the feed's bad. We lost the BS." So I believe the conclusion was they did not meet the prerequisites for bringing in that act. The country was not in danger.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
But they did it anyway, and we got redacted. What did you
Yeah.
guys say in the room? We can't tell you.
Yeah, well,
You must tell us. They're still going through. You must tell us what you said. It's the only way they could force the tow truck companies to pull the trucks out because they didn't want to get involved.
no, they didn't.
Of course not. Like the unions.
There was 2 different companies that flat out refused.
Well, they all refused, and then they said, we will take your licenses away. So they covered their nameplates, but they did not want or agree with this. And all of those strangers with no identification showed up as a horde and just pushed and pushed and pushed.
The zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think that is the future where we have anonymous numbers of very large males forcing citizens to do something.
Oh, there was females there too.
Okay. And that
Not as many.
that
but
I will say the
still.
word again, the Kilgally principles, look that up. It's going worldwide. So
Again, devoid of any
Yeah.
any emotion whatsoever. So hollow looking. You look in their eyes and they're just there's nothing. They're like dead inside.
Yeah.
I don't know what was done to them, but I felt sorry for them. I truly I did. You know, they were just so empty. Just empty.
So at the very end of this, we have Canada, the true north, strong and free, hockey playing, beer drinking, toque wearing Canadians having this force of the Ottawa Police, Ontario Provincial Police, RCMP, and these strange people crushing that thing out of existence. We're going to pull your truck away. You will leave the area. Some of the equipment that was pulled off near Coates was vandalized. The wires were cut. That's vindictive because you can't buy that wiring harness. It has to be traced by someone who has the diagram. Very expensive for someone whose bank account is seized.
Yeah.
And worse than that, they went international and went after the GoFundMe people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were.
This is government. I was going to say overreach, but government exercising its the power we don't want it to use. You're going to go after a U.S. company that will fund somebody who's fighting for freedom.
Yeah.
The Russians don't do that. This is worse than Russia.
Yeah. Oh, that was their thing. It was foreign money that was coming in. No, it wasn't. Maybe a little bit. But the amount of money that was coming in was Canada, the US.
Yeah.
People, and they could trace it, they could see.
Well,
It wasn't like a Antifa money or, KKK money or whatever. It was Bobby Joe, Billy Sue, Jeannie, Jane, whatever. It was whatever, right?
like you said, here's $20 for a pizza, and you get your bank account seized.
Yeah.
If Russia sent $10 billion to the truckers to take down the Trudeau government, that's foreign money.
Yeah.
If a bunch of people in the U.S. who don't like totalitarianism send $50 to the truckers for
Okay,
gas,
so-
which the police wouldn't let them have, diesel fuel.
Oh no, because it was
That's
dangerous.
not international.
To have proper fuel trucks come in with all the safety, hazmat equipment if needed. That was dangerous.
Well, why can I go to a gas station with my red can that I bought at Canadian Tire and fill it up with gasoline and put it in the back of my van?
That's what they ended up doing. That's how they had
Well,
wagons
that's what I'm
filled
saying.
with.
They're saying they wouldn't let them do that.
No, well, they wouldn't let the big trucks come in.
Oh, okay.
In the beginning, we had companies like fuel companies, and even like for gas, you know, with like joy tanks and stuff,
Okay, I didn't know that.
filling up for the truckers, and they would just go along with their big truck, and it's like I said, it's all safe. They have the proper equipment. They have the hazmat if there's a spill. They have all the extinguishers, you know, all that, and they wouldn't let them do it. They stopped them from coming in. They blocked off the roads.
Okay, that's part of the crushing.
Yeah.
Let's freeze these people.
And so,
But what I saw,
so all the population, the attendees went, wait a second, we're gonna go and get. They didn't care what it was, water jugs, jerry cans, whatever. I mean, jerry cans are the safest, but then you walk around with jerry can, you get targeted. And they had wagons full, and they'd come along and they'd pour it in, just to keep the trucks going.
did you
Keep
see
them
that?
warm. Yeah.
Okay, what I saw on television was the police stopping those people saying, you can't do this.
Yeah,
You cannot give them diesel fuel.
Yeah.
And we're seizing it.
Well, there's other routes. So while they're over here, we started playing their game. While they're over here dealing with them, we had a bunch more coming in that way.
Yeah, but this is
So
this
how
is
comes-
vindictive.
How comes the government can seize funds and say, "Oh, we're getting foreign money," yet Trudeau himself has gotten money, and some of his whatever they are, MPs, they've gotten tons of foreign money. There's I believe an Asian gentleman right now being investigated, but that's okay. But you have a bunch of citizens giving GoFundMe. Oh, let's freeze it. Well, why not? Let's freeze Justin's account. Let's freeze this Wong or Hong dude, whatever his name. I mean, no disrespect to anybody. He's like high up. He's one of Justin's little. He got a crap ton of money from the Chinese Communist Party. Why aren't their bank accounts being shut down? Why aren't they thrown in jail without bail for months? What gives? It's good for the goose, good for the gander, no? You do it to your people, but when you're caught doing it, oh, no. No, we'll have an investigation, and I'll have my friend do the investigation. Okay. What is that? And so how do you, when you go and you want to speak up for your rights and be heard by your government, and they do this to you, that scares me.
That's what all this
Because
was about.
you can only do that for so long before people will start doing stuff on their own, and it's not going to be peaceful.
That's why they're coming.
I'm not saying the truckers, I'm saying individual people.
That's
are
why
gonna
they're coming
start.
for the guns in the U.S. and Canada. This is the plan is longer than this
Well,
year.
perhaps if you listen to the people, they wouldn't need to use the guns. And you wouldn't need to stop the guns. And the guns that they're stopping are people who use them responsibly anyways. It's going to have no effect on the guns that are used in crimes, because they're not the ones that are licensed, registered, trained, responsible gun owners. They're not the ones that are doing the crimes. So what's the point in that? Control? Oh.
There's some kind of international plan. You can vote your way into communism, but you have to shoot your way out.
Yeah.
And
that's what scares me.
That's why this thing happened. This is just the first whiff of Canada is actually a socialist, totalitarian.
And I guess the government thought we were idiots.
Yes, they thought we were idiots.
But some of us saw it, and then the government turned the rest of the people against us by only putting out on the news what they wanted on the news.
Yeah.
They didn't tell the truth. Follow the money. I keep saying follow the money. Follow the money. And don't just follow it one branch. You keep following it, and you find out that, oh, this person belongs to this corporation, which has a numbered corporation here, which is attached to this one here, which has this person as a shareholder, this person as a CEO. You follow that money, and you will find out what is really going on. You will find out. But people say, oh no, I researched that. It's so and so company that owns that. Really? Did you really research it, or did you just listen to the mainstream media tell you? Did you go in and follow the trail? But you're happy going, oh no, I looked it up on, Wikipedia, and it says this. No.
There's a man.
Do your research. Do your frickin' research and wake up.
There's a man called George Soros, who was a child in World War II and saw the Nazi atrocities of World War II. He grew up, and he's taken down 22 countries so far into communist totalitarianism. And how he did that is he took England for all their money somehow. He did some kind of amazing thing and got all of England's money. Stupendous amount of money. And he's funding what's going on. And
Well, did you see we've lost all our gold reserve? Trudeau sold it all off.
Stupid mistake.
Yeah.
Krista,
And that's why they
The-
want to
no.
bring in digital currency, so that they control.
our deputy prime minister,
Okay.
is George Soros's biographer who wrote his biography. So she must be a fan.
You think?
And some members of Trudeau's cabinet are members of the World Economic Forum. Somebody asked that question, who are they? And the whole arena just freaked out over that question. And they all went to Davos. Those people went to Davos. So right at the very top in the halls of Parliament, we have
Corrupt.
personages working for international organizations who would prefer that things are less free and democratic.
And they're not known about either.
Yeah.
They want to be in secrecy.
And if you really want to have fun, you can watch when Justin Trudeau is speaking, not in question period, which is just a joke.
He never answers questions.
Sure he does. He says Canadians are looking for the jobs that we're going to create for them.
Oh. But he never answers the question you're asking. He answers a question.
Canadians are looking forward to the new economic reality of the jobs I'll create for them.
Really? Okay. Way to go, Justin.
When he is speaking anywhere else, if Krista is there, she'd be wearing a mask. You see, she's mouthing the same words. Like either she's got it memorized or she's telepathically.
Well, they all wear those earbud things like
Yeah.
the CIA and whatever you see on TV. They all have those communication devices. So.
So what will we do if the voting is not as it should be? We can't just vote for other people. There was some kind of problem in Quebec, and they brought some guy out who was in Parliament when I was a boy, Jean Charest, because it's a name that even I know the name from when I was, 11, 12. So they say, we're having a problem with Quebec, let's get someone known, well, he's going to run. He must be 80 or more, but he's still there.
I saw, growing up in Montreal, graffiti on a wall. And it said, if voting could change the system, it would be made illegal. And that kind of stuck with me.
Wow.
But then I was young and hopeful and stupid. I had faith that the government, oh no, that can't be true. Oh, it's true, unfortunately. So they make up the rules for them as they go along. They change them whenever they want, not without notice. You know, at night, whatever, after hours. They have their own little bills going on and whatever that they all approve, nobody knows about until it's too late. They sell off our trees, our water, our gold, our land to whomever, wherever. How do you stop that? You try to play by their rules, which they changed like the wind. So what are you left with? You attempt to do the right thing by having a peaceful protest, want to meet with someone because you're not being heard when you follow their rules. Like I said, the emails, the phone calls, the petitions, all the legal non-confrontational things. When they dismiss you, I don't know. It's what, 3 years in now? 4 years?
So this was a shot across the bow from the citizens to the government, and it was just one little piece of the society, the international truck drivers. There's all the rest of the people in other categories.
Yeah.
But looks like if the public tries to actually do something, the government will attack, which is what has happened. And in the U.S., Joe Biden said, so you have an AR-15, well, I have an F-16. We'll send the jets after you. He threatened the citizens with the army, should they revolt. Which is also why this
George
happened.
Orwell, 1984. Read that book in high school.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. You got all the cameras up everywhere.
In
5G.
Canada, that book is required reading in school.
It used to be.
And it should be in every country, but I was very proud that it was. You must read this book in case this happens. And it's happening right now. And the war in that book is continuous, is designed to destroy the fruits of human production, and the war is waged by the government against its own citizens.
Yes. And it's fictional.
He was one of the Illuminati, the writer. It was a warning. You can.
I mean, in the book it was fictional. There was no, Eurasia against whatever. They just changed it.
Yeah. And
people didn't know because all they had was their little teleprompter and the speaker going off all day and night and the cameras everywhere. So they had to believe it was told, right? They changed it just like they do in the media. You don't have any real record unless you screenshot something yourself. It disappears. It goes away.
Yeah.
Redacted.
Well, I believe Russia, France, Britain, the United States want Africa.
Oh,
It's a whole continent. And I think that Canada is in the same position that the U.S. and
Canada
China
goes along with whatever.
want Canada. All that empty space, all those resources, there's just a little line of people along the bottom by the border where it's warm. I think
we're
up for
puppets
grabs.
as far as the world is concerned.
Yeah.
And Justin is the puppeteer right now. He's the one making all the back alley deals.
Yeah.
None of the people know about.
I don't believe it's him. He's an actor and was fronting powerful interests, the same ones that are attacking every country.
Yeah. But again, you try to talk to people, oh, you're just conspiracy theory, you're just a whack job. No, that's not true. Okay, you try to show them the proof. What's that saying? Something about it's easier to convince someone by lying to them than by telling them the truth that you did lie to them. I can't remember it, but it's basically, I'll tell you a lie, you'll believe it, but when I go to tell you the truth, hey, I was lying, you're like, no. It's that's what's going on. And you try to bring it up to people and to wake them up and go, yo, like, hello.
Well, we have a tool to do this, which is mass media, television, and the internet to tell the truth to the entire public. That will not happen and won't be allowed.
Well, no, because mainstream media.
Yeah.
And look at the bill they're bringing in about censoring,
Yeah, that's
right? So now
because
they're going to pick and choose, just like Big Brother.
YouTube was a workaround against corrupt governments, so now they're eliminating that.
I think they've even got a hold of Rumble now. I think Rebel, True North. There's a few, but and now they're saying, well, TikTok is Chinese security breach, whatever, Asian, whatever. I mean, every time you come up with a way to talk with people, they're going to find a way to shut you down.
Yes,
right.
that's
So I think we kind of almost have to go back to like ham radios or something, And another thing, in Ottawa, your cell phones, all of a sudden they wouldn't work. The Wi-Fi would stop working. They'd like jam it. Yeah. Right? So you couldn't communicate with each other because they screwed around with the service. So we're going to have to go back to like old school Morse code or something. I don't know. Carrier pigeons.
or maybe Starlink, if he'll be honest with it. If there could be internet on Starlink coming straight down. There's always people looking for a workaround. You had tribal chieftains abusing people, and then some guy came and bashed all their heads and said, well, I'm the king, it's going to be better than it was before. The kings became abusive, so they invented parliaments to make laws to, and then parliament became abusive, so they got lawyers to bypass the laws in parliament. And then lawyers have a bad reputation right now. So then we have the internet where you can speak to the entire planet about injustice.
Yeah.
And that's being...
But that's only if the government allow you to be heard, right? Or else they do like
well,
they
it's
did.
it's
they
a
take
workaround.
away Facebook, YouTube, all those. They take away your channel.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're not on there. All your followers, everything. So you have to make a new account.
Yeah.
Well, how do you contact the people that you used to have on your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube? How do you get in contact with them and say, oh, yo, this one got shut down, now I'm over here, you know?
But Facebook's free, it's not a right. It was offered free. Go ahead, put up videos. Great.
So if I was to start a company and make it that it's like a messaging thing and a platform to put up videos.
They'd buy you out. They'd crush you out.
Yeah. Because can't have that.
If you have the
Can't
wrong
people
stuff on
sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
No. You are going to learn only what we want you to know.
Yeah.
Need to know basis. This
Which
is all
is
you need to know.
totalitarianism, communism,
Dictatorship.
socialism, and it's not done out of altruistic reasons. It's done for psychotic reasons.
Malicious. It's disgusting. It here's how I equate it. Is that it is so mind warping, incomprehensible. Like, it's just so hard to believe. It's like, no, that can't be true. No, they wouldn't do that. No, that's not what's going on. That's what's happening, people.
Yeah.
It is. It's just so unfathomable that you're like, no, I still have running water. I still have food. I still have this. That's not what's going on. Like the iceberg, this is the only part you're going to see.
Yeah.
If that's the only part you're looking at. Look below. Look below. It's huge.
It's psychopaths work their way up into positions of power because for their reason they need to do that. There's I'm trying to remember names. He's an Irishman. His specialty is psychopaths. And on the way to remembering his name, Peter Ouspensky, Russian philosopher, said the human race is the only biological grouping where the psychopathic element is in charge of it. Which is why things don't work out well. And the gentleman whose name I'm trying to remember, we don't know if psychopath is nature or nurture yet. And we need to find out.
I would say it's lack of nurture. That would be.
Well, if it's nurture, we need to change our child rearing, and if it's nature, we need to put them all on an island somewhere. Because they're interfering with the forward progress of humanity. Okay, I remember his name. He has hundreds of videos on this, and when you listen to him, you go, yes, that's what's going on.
You like Russell Brand?
Beautiful Irish accent. He's written book after book after book.
Irish, eh?
It'll come to me on the way home.
I can write it in the comments after, so put it in the title. His name was. We really have to start banding together in our communities and making sure we look out for each other. We really are. Because the poop's gonna hit the fan. It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
But they're prepared for that. This has been a
The
long...
government's prepared, but none of us are.
No, so we're going to lose.
Few of us are.
We're going to lose.
No, we won't. Because you know what? They overlook something.
What?
I don't know. They always overlook something. It's like the most brilliant criminal minds, plan the perfect crime, but then they forget about the getaway. All the part leading up, the before and the during, it's the after where they screw up. It's the fact that they forgot to change their running shoes. Wear pretty flashy running shoes that they see on the camera. It's like, oh, something like that. You can't, when you're so evil and craving power, feeding off of people, you make mistakes. And that'll be their downfall, is their incessant need and greed. And the good of the people and us banding together and sticking together, not getting involved in all the petty little crap. And that's what the government keeps doing, is trying to divide us. Meanwhile, like I said, they're going, look over here, look what I'm giving you, look over here. But don't look over here at everything we're taking from you. No, keep looking over here. Keep looking over here. That's what they're doing by trying to separate us, to divide us, to beat us down. You just got to keep having faith.
Who did they sell the gold reserve to?
I believe it was Asian Beast. I could look it up on my phone. It would take me 30 seconds because I've kept it in my history.
Do you mean China or Asian billionaires?
Yeah, I'm taking the fifth because I don't want to say something that is not entirely 100% guaranteed to be true.
We don't have the fifth in this country. We have the Canada Evidence.
Yeah, well, you know what? Doesn't matter anyways, because Trudeau will find a way around that. Where is it? Hidden story of Trudeau's sale of Hidden story of Trudeau's sale of Canada's gold reserves to China, CAP.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that means, let me see. CSIS, the recent takeover of a Nunavut Canadian gold mine by a Chinese state-owned company. So the company, I guess, is TMAC. And it was bought up by the state-owned Chinese corporations. Zijin Mining. Yeah. Our Prime Minister approved a sell-off of all Canadian gold reserves. Nearly all was purchased by China. Establishment media has barely blinked an eye.
And where was the money that was paid placed?
Let's see. Tenure. Somehow in the government. International reserves data. Department of Finance. This is from CAP, CAPFOR, cap4canada.com. It was from January 21st, 2022. And CAP stands for Cultural Action Party of Canada. So I don't want to sit here and read it all. I can't say where the money went.
Well, is it now digital currency? Which is
Yeah.
numbers on a screen.
Yeah. It was purchased by China, but it doesn't say. Excuse me. Now what is this? Unpublished information spoke of the funding of new Pan-African currency launched by the government of Libya. What is that? Our liberal government maintained a close bond with the Libyan government as facilitated through SNC-Lavalin contracts with Libyan authorities. Oh, well,
There's
there
that
we
big
go.
corruption scandal. Those
Yeah,
words.
Lavalin, that's Trudeau's buddies.
Well, since you said Libya, there's a rumor that Gaddafi had collected 144 tons of gold from Africa, and it was to finance water across North Africa. There was going to be some kind of water system to open up Northern Africa, and that's the reason that the U.S. and England went into Libya was to get that gold. And it was covered up by whatever they said happened there with the embassy and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but it's on the wire. That seems more like the world really is than, oh, Gaddafi's a bad person and there was some trouble at the embassy with rebels.
You know, nothing is ever black or white, right? Especially when it comes to the government. There's a whole pile of invisible and gray, right? What about citizens' arrest? Is there a way we could do something about that?
You could?
So, is that,
For example, the grand jury? Ooh, scary. There is no grand jury. There isn't like a grand jury sitting somewhere waiting for a new potential criminal to be brought in. A grand jury is two 12-man juries and a jury foreman who has to be someone with a university degree. And that's to prevent lynching. Like if you had 48 farmers,
so
49 farmers would lynch some guy, but if somebody from the university would go, wait a minute. So
A university degree in what though? Law?
Anything.
Ethics?
No, just so that they're not a completely uneducated person. So the grand jury doesn't have to be these sacrosanct people that are picked. It can be any group of 12 people, like juries are. They do jury selection.
Yeah.
Are you a nut bar? No. Okay, you're in. Are you a nut bar? Yes, I am. Well, we can't use you. So you have your jury.
You can have a nut bar running the country and nobody does anything?
So citizens could probably get a lawyer and 48 people and hold a grand jury, which is where you present evidence to a prosecutor of a crime. So you have 48 people and the foreman, and you hopefully a lawyer and somebody who's accused of doing something, and you present your evidence. The money's in his bank account. His fingerprints are all over it. We've got video of him doing it. Mr. Prosecutor, the grand jury says, we think he's guilty. You better start prosecuting. It moves forward to prosecution in the courts. It doesn't have to be them doing that. We can do that. Citizens grand jury. Citizens arrest.
Well, there is that one. What is it? There is some international court of justice or something.
Yeah.
That there's been a few things brought to them, but I don't know how far that gets us. What they can do about it.
Well, to do that, you have to be knowledgeable and motivated. You have to know about it. You have to start filling out forms and writing letters and doing things.
Well,
and
they've done that. They've
yeah, it works. When you do it, it works.
But I heard nothing about it. But again, a lot of the places where I used to get my information don't exist anymore. They just magically disappeared. Kind of like Unlucky Charms. Because the government doesn't like it. So, poof.
Well, on that level, supposedly there was an arrest warrant out for Queen Elizabeth, and an arrest warrant for George W. Bush the Younger for war crimes, and that's why he wouldn't leave the United States after that, because if he went outside, he would have been arrested, supposedly, about talking in that arena, which is a conspiracy.
I believe Justin's on there too now.
Yeah, India has somebody big they want to arrest if they could get their hands on them. But that's not our.
I think Freedom George should arrest citizens arrest. That would be sweet. Poor George, putting more tasks upon that man. Freedom, let's go, let's go, let's go. Inspiration.
The Church of Scientology guy, Ron Hubbard, said a country runs on the back of a few desperate men, which is probably true. And something else that was brilliant. He said, I can't remember what it was. For example, Jordan Peterson is one of those few desperate men. He speaks the truth. He knows what he's talking about. And he's got the guts to say it, and he's super articulate, and he is, of course, being attacked for telling the truth.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't do that.
I think there's a few.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, excuse me, what, but for the most part, Jordan Peterson I agree with, but there's a couple of his things I'm like, I don't know about that, but you know, nobody's perfect, especially me. You know, but there's a couple of issues that we're sort of like, I don't know that I want to get behind that. But
I've seen him have his mind changed. Like, he'll debate someone and somebody powerful, and he'll sit down and go, let's go at it, and it could last an hour and a half, 2 hours, and sometimes he goes, you know, actually, you're right.
yeah.
And he's willing to go, I thought I had a good handle on that, but I never had that piece of information, so, yes.
Well, then I can respect and admire someone like
Yeah.
that. Unlike Trudeau, who portrays that he's so perfect, everybody else is so evil.
Canadians are
And
looking
will
forward to the new
refuse.
jobs that my economy will create for them.
Okay, sure. And the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain.
Yeah.
Like I said, if voting could change the system, it would be made illegal.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to go back to paper votes. I voted in our election here, and only names. You had to know who you're voting for, and either the person or the party. They didn't say who they're with. There's just a name and a circle. Who do you like? You have to do your research.
Wow. But they have ahead of time the 4 names or whatever?
Well, in my riding, people have signs up. I'm liberal, I'm conservative, I'm NDP, I'm independent, and they have websites. So you go, well, what is Charlene doing, independent? So I look at her, what does she believe in? Okay, I look at the liberal
but
guy.
I meant prior, so you could do that prior.
Oh,
not
yeah.
on voting day, like
No,
you're
but
just then handed 4 names, and you got to sit there with your phone and do it.
No, they don't tell you. You don't walk in and it doesn't go, Dawn is liberal, Jane is conservative, Markovitz is NDP. You have to know who you want to vote for, which I think is smart, because that forces you to go to the website. So what's it about? What do you believe in? And you go, oh, this guy believes in the stuff that I'm interested in, so I'm voting for him. But I know his name. They don't give you that like you can't just go and go, well, I'm NDP. You have to know who's who.
Interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that like that where you are?
I'm sure last time I voted was, because I missed the last one, because I was away. I'm sure maybe it was a provincial one though. And it had, like, beside or underneath or whatever, what party they were with.
Well, I did a video on this as a lesson to the Americans. I got my voter card. I'm a registered voter. My card came to my house. I went, okay, I have my registration card. You go to vote. They say, let's see your voter registration card. Here it's me. Let's see your provincial ID, photo ID. Sign the signature. Compare signatures. Okay, go vote. Like they are complaining about in the U.S. about, oh, there's no signature, there's no address, there's no voter, we don't know who's who. It was the way it's supposed to be. If you're a registered voter, they mail you at the address.
But what about people who are, say, don't have a home, live in their van, live on the street? Don't they get a right to vote?
Yes, they do.
But quite frequently their ID's lost, or they don't have an address. So how do you get your voter card if you don't have an address?
I don't know about that. I don't know anybody like that.
I mean, they have the right to an opinion too.
Yeah.
Because maybe they wouldn't be homeless or living in their car if there was a better government. But they can't even, But then, like I said, that dude that's in one of Justin's friends and in the government there, apparently they paid busloads of people to come in and or threaten them that if they didn't vote for him, they would, student visas, they were all
in
busted.
his riding?
And they said they would be sent home.
That's corruption.
Yeah. And apparently Justin knew about this and did nothing, still let him come in, be part of his party. So, he's like the Wizard of Oz, I guess. He's behind the curtain, you can't get to him. makes the rules, changes the rules. Nobody knows the rules. When you do know the rules and you use it on them, what is that? Canadians are happy because of their jobs.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think we reached the natural end of this one.
Yeah. I got it. Thank you again.
Well, I'm glad we did this because we'll put these videos out and the world will be saved and changed by our conversation. No
Let's
problem.
bloody